bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get to squeeze and leave a nigga. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get to squeeze and leave a nigga bleeding. Raw Molly got me all up in demon mode. Mouth moving like I done put clean in my nose. Trying to catch me up, I can leave with some hoes. He standing straight up, watch I make him lean with this pole. Would've thought he was closed, how that heat made him fold. Thought it was a game, he won't think no more. His brain's gone, nigga. It be exciting when I get to striking. Guns sound like thunder, hit you like lightning. Fight for your life, we don't do no fighting. We really hit it, nigga. We worse than savage, they calling us Vikings. Police be riding, we still be sliding. Told you we hitters, remember the time. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get to squeeze and leave a nigga bleeding. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get to squeeze and leave a nigga bleeding. How about I leave them holding like the Bible? AR-15, that's a high-pound rifle. A in the army and assassinate rivals. Break that shit down, nigga. AK or anybody kill. Hop out, get the drilling and spilling. 7.62 gon' split 'em. FN, that's for any fuck nigga. You a plug, then I'm pulling up, nigga. You my lunch, eating bullet for dinner. 5.0, eat 'em up. SK, smoke killer for show. Drum rounds and cripple ops Draco. I got 'em all, you don't want no. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get this squeeze, leave a nigga bleeding. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get this squeeze, leave a nigga bleeding.
Peace and blessings to everybody. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. All things, always the first one in, the last one out. Peace and blessings, King. Kawhi Elliott, peace and blessings, King. Just Do Boxing, getting this Just Do a Boxing up in here. Peace and blessings, King. Dank Lucane, peace and blessings, King. Cash Crypto, my guy, peace and blessings, King. Welcome to the show today. Nate Dogg, D1, my guy. My brother, peace and blessings, King. Okay, Daryl Thigpen, long time no see, but peace and blessings, King. We up in here. Y'all. Bruce Gas and Jazz, and so much more. Peace and blessings, King. How's it going today? Okay, we got a lot we're going to wrap down and run through today. We're going to get into these fights and the potential upsets that's coming up. It's 3 major fights coming up. Justin Hawkins, my guy. Peace and blessings, King. Okay, it's 3 fights coming up, and it's 3 possible upsets coming up. But before we get into this, we're going to break something down. Give me 1 second so I can turn this volume down on this other device. Hold on. All right, hold on. All right, is my audio's good, people? Coach Amber, peace and blessings. Queen, how you doing? Thanks so much, Dank Lucane. Thanks so much. All right. First, we're going to talk about the 3 fights. I'm going to give y'all 3 fights that's going to have potential upsets that can affect a lot of boxers. For one, we got Shakur versus Edwin Los Del Santos. Then we got Devin versus Regis Ruru Prograis. Then we got Boo Boo and David Benavidez. All three of these fights have major implications, and they can mess up the whole lineup. Like, they can affect boxing. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to do this. First off, let's start with the main event. We're going to start with y'all favorite, everybody else's favorite, Devin Haney. Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis. Devin is already the major favorite. Oh, thank you, Coach Amber. Thank you. And Coach Amber, you know you're welcome to hop up here. If you're ready for it now, you can hop on up here. You know you always got the key to the door, just like my man Just Do say. The keys to the door is under the mat. All you got to do is just come on up here and you got it. Yeah, Shakur do better be on point there, big man. But I want to get to Devin first because it's something people not realizing. First off, Floyd Mayweather got a lot of sweat and a lot of flack going on, right? Because a lot of people said, strap season, peace and blessings, King. A lot of people complained that Floyd stole Devin's date and Floyd a hater and everything. But that's another one of them narratives they push against the PBC. Floyd Mayweather had that date first. Hen Dog, peace and blessings, King. Salute. Peace and blessings. Y'all, everybody smash that like button if y'all don't mind. I really would appreciate that. But Floyd Mayweather got a lot of flack. But it's been discovered that Floyd Mayweather had this date for over 6 months now. Floyd Mayweather has had this date way before Devin. If you do remember, Devin and Regis had the October 28th date. So they changed their date. Eddie Hearn changed their date to Floyd's date. So Floyd is not doing nothing against the Zone. The Zone did that to themselves. So we can't blame Floyd for that because Floyd had it first. And you know, this is Floyd Mayweather. He's been had that. That's for one. Because you know, Regis and Devin, their date was originally October the 28th. It was October 28th. And then they had, this their third date actually, because they had October 28th. Then Devin got it changed to November. And Regis said, I'm not fighting you in November because, you know, Regis does his, he goes to the Carnival. He goes to his country. He goes to the country, I think it's Brazil. He goes to Brazil for the Carnival. And so, let me invite the lovely Coach Amber up here. Peace and blessings, Coach. Welcome to the stage. I'm glad you decided to grace us with your lovely and intuitive presence. How are you doing today, Coach? Hello? You got your thing on mute, Coach Amber, if you're trying to talk. Michael White, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
I appreciate it. It's hump day. It's hump day.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Ain't that the way they used to say it on the that camera used to say it, hump day. But yeah, let me get this out real quick. Yeah, so Floyd Mayweather had this date. Devin's date was October 28th. Then they changed it to November 13th, and Regis said, I'm not fighting you in November. I've been told you this. Rachel Richardson, long time no see. Peace and blessings, Queen. How are you doing today? Welcome back to the chat. But yeah, so Regis and Devin had the October 28th and November 13th. Now they're encroaching on Floyd's date. So a lot of people that thought Floyd was sitting there doing something foul, no, it's the other way around. Eddie Hearn is trying to encroach on Floyd's date, which is crazy because you're going up against the number one boxer in history for doing big shows. That's what Floyd does. And Floyd has a hell of a card. But we'll get into that later. We're going to Devin. Now, right now, November 11th. You're right, Nate, though. I thought it was 13th. But right now, Devin Haney is over 25 pounds overweight right now. And that's one of the reasons why he stalled it out. And this is what I tell y'all people. I tell the Devin Haney fans. Devin Haney has about 2, maybe 3 at the most fights at 140. Because he's only went up 5 pounds. For his physique, 5 pounds really ain't going to help him. he's going to look just as bad as he did for the Cambosos fight in the weigh-in. Devin Haney is big. Like when Shakur stayed all that time at 126, then he moved up to 130. He was only able to stay there for like 3 fights, and then he had to shoot up there after the Conceição fight. That's because Shakur spent so much time in 126 that when he got to 130, his body bypassed that weight. And that's the way Devin is. Devin's been at 135 for so long. Just the 140 is just going to be a bypass weight for him. He's just going to slide through there. And plus, Devin wants to be in the premier divisions anyway. He's not trying to sit at 140. He's a 135 or 147 fighter. People like to fight in the premier divisions. They don't like fighting in the middle class divisions like 140, 130, 154. Those divisions right there is not prestigious. It's not marketable, honestly. You've never really seen no huge fight in the 130 or the 140 or the 154. You never really seen no really big money making fight in those divisions because, they're not prestigious divisions. Because the people in 140 are too big for 135 and they're not good enough for 147. That's the 140 division. The people in 130 is too small and not good enough for 135, but they're too big for 126. That's the way they do that. J.A. Dixon, salute, King, peace and blessings. But it is a very good chance of Regis upsetting Devin. Because, like I said, Devin is going to be weight drained on this fight. This fight is going to take a lot out of Devin. A lot of people think he's going up to 140. He should be great. He should have extra energy. Yes, but Devin's also a growing man. He's a growing body. Devin was also over 170 pounds. And right now, he's over 25 pounds over the limit right now. So he's around 165 right now. He has to get to 140 and maintain that. And Devin is a huge guy, like everybody keeps saying. But yes, you can be huge, but you still have to make weight. And when you make weight, it's going to be a hard road to make weight. Probably a fat camp and everything. And one thing about those camps right there, they take a lot out of you. They take a lot of your stamina and your fortitude. So even if you do rehydrate up higher, you just got to realize your body is still recovering from the turmoil and the trauma it had to go through to get you to that division, to get you to that level. Now, Regis, he had problems making weight against Zorilla. And yes, Regis is a career-long 140-pounder. Like I said, he wasn't good enough to go to 147. He's never had that big fight. Don T, salute, King. Peace and blessings. I'm glad you're back, man. I'm glad you're feeling well, man. Peace and blessings to you, dude. Peace and blessings. And P1, my God, long time no see. Peace and blessings, man. Peace and blessings. But yeah, like we were saying, Devin, he's got to make that weight. And when he makes that weight, it's going to take a lot out of him. And then not only is he used to straining his body to make weight, he still got to carry that extra 5 in the ring. We don't know what that extra 5 is going to look like on Devin. 5 pounds matters in a boxing ring. That takes a lot out of your endurance. It takes a lot out of your speed. And it takes a lot out of your stamina. You don't know what 5 pounds would do. That's just like holding a 5-pound weight in your hand. After a minute, it gets heavy. It gets heavy. You can say, oh, it's just 5 pounds. But after a minute, you won't be able to hold your arm up after a few minutes. Akelo Nella. Peace and blessings, King. My guy. That's what I'm talking about, man. Everybody here today, I appreciate y'all for showing up, showing out. My co-host, Key Alexander, she'll be here in a little bit. But as always, we got the lovely Coach Amber in here holding it down. But yes, so Regis and Devin is going to be very interesting. Regis, he's having his best training camp right now. He hasn't had to get up for a fight in a while. If you look at it, his only big fight was Josh Taylor. And I feel like he got robbed on that one, but he was in great shape. He came out aggressive, bold. And see, Regis has been getting disrespected this whole fight. Like, he's the defending champion, and they're treating him like the B-side, which he is because Devin has a relationship with Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn does see Devin as the youth. He sees Devin as the future. And he sees Regis, because he's 35, 36, is they see him ready to go out to the pasture. And what they're trying to do is use Regis as a stepping stone, use his name as a way to get, to get marketed. Fresh Baker, that's what's up, bro. Kansas City Mac, peace and blessings, King. Fresh Baker, man, make sure you take some pictures and post them up, bro, so we can check you out, Fresh Baker. I mean, I'm glad you get to go to the match and everything. I'm glad about that. I'm glad you support it because I feel like we should support all our fighters right now. Like, if we don't support our fighters, who else is going to support them? You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, like I said, Devin, he's going to have a problem making that weight. And when he gets in that ring with Regis, it's going to be problems. And I feel like, and like I was touch base with Fanon earlier today, I did some film study. And I've been looking at Devin lately in the gym. I've been looking at him hitting the bag and everything. Like, Devin, he has good technique and everything, but I realized one thing about Devin. Devin doesn't have no quick twitch muscles. Devin doesn't have that damn jolt. He doesn't destroy the bag. Like, when you look at his kinetic energy, it doesn't repel the bag away with centrifugal force the way most punchers do. So Devin will never be a big puncher. Like, he can't make the bag repel away from his blows like that. And I've seen it. And he's throwing, that's why Regis sat there and said them soft shots. See, Devin's punches has mass to it. But the mass and the volume on it is not consistent with knocking you out. Like, he can do cumulative damage, but he's not getting into the nitty gritty and pounding you and hurting you. And I don't see him picking it up unless Snack can help. But right now, Devin, he showed me that he's not a big puncher. He doesn't have them tweak. You can teach a person how to punch all day, but you can't teach a person power. And like I said, it's God gifted. You're born with it. All right, that's what I'm gonna start on that right there. Next, the Shakur and Edwin Del Santos fight. Now I'm just running through it right now. We're gonna go through it, and we can go through it more in depth in a second. I'm just trying to get it out here first because shout out to Dank Luke Kane. He wanted me to get over this right here. But yes. Next up, we talking about Shakur and Edwin Del Santos. Edwin Del Santos has been calling out Shakur for over a year now. And he is the self-made boogeyman at 135. Nobody calls out Shakur. Shakur has been ducked by Loma. I hate to say it, by Devin. He's been ducked by Pitbull Cruz. He's been ducked by William Cepeda. He's been ducked by a whole slew of fighters. A whole slew of them now. And Edwin Del Santos called him out. Now, Richardson, Nick J. Man, it's Christmas in July right now. Let me make sure I rinse her up. How you doing, Miss Nick J? Peace and blessings.
Make sure you do that. That is my sister right there.
She's already rinsed before you even said something, Coach Amber. The rinse has already been dropped in the drop box. And it's not one of them Everlast. This right here is DeWalt. She got a DeWalt wrench. Oh yeah. But yes, one thing I can say, right? Shakur might be in a little bit of trouble right here because the African, Richardson Hitchison, he said that he's been fighting against both of them. And Richardson Hitchison, he's a very astute and a very established boxer in that ring. And so Richardson Hitchison, he says that Shakur is going against a true athletic fighter in Edwin Del Santos. He said Edwin Del Santos does things in the ring that he hasn't seen before. And Edwin Del Santos punches just as hard as Cepeda. And now you got to realize Cepeda was one of the hardest hitters at 140. Plus, Richardson Hitchison fought him with 8-ounce gloves on. He fought Del Santos with 16-ounce gloves. And he's saying that his power was comparable to Zepeda's with 16-ounce gloves. So that's making a statement right there. We've seen what he did to El Rayo. He dismantled that man. But I've also seen Del Santos go against my guy, William Foster III, and get picked apart. But he has grown from that. He has become more fluid, more lateral, more boxing ability. So I feel like this is the fight that Shakur needs. It's going to help him go into his bag. It's going to either make or break, because every great fighter needs a great opponent to push them. If they don't push them, then you can never become a great fighter. To become great, you have to be pushed to greatness. And I feel like this fight is going to make Shakur go in his bag. And I want to see if Shakur is going to be on the front foot, or is he going to go backpedaling like he did it versus Nakathila. But Dos Santos has speed. And one thing I've always said about Shakur, he has great defense. But if somebody switches up the cadence and they switch up the variations and the speeds of their shot, you can catch Shakur with the left without him seeing it. That left, you can catch him with that left. And you can catch him. And he's right in front of you. So he uses his reflexes. He uses just enough to get out the way, to parry, to block, just so he can counter you. He's with the catch and shoot. So if you switch it up, it's gonna be very entertaining, Nick J. And that's why I said he's gonna have to catch and shoot, and he's gonna have to make sure that he doesn't lose track of Dos Santos' power. See, if I was fighting a guy like Shakur Stevenson, right? Excuse me. The first 2 rounds, I would throw my punches in variations, but I would always throw about 70% as fast as I can. So for 2 rounds, I would let him download data of me throwing my shots, and he would think that 70% is as fast as I can go. And then that's what Bud used to download data. Then he would switch over to southpaw, and he'd put his strong hand first. So while the boxer is downloading the data, his fast hand would disrupt their speed and disrupt their timing. See, me, after the 3rd round, I start throwing them bunches and shots, and I would switch it up and put 100% into the shots. That way the speed will be uncanny. And while he has his timing set for a certain speed, it would disrupt his speed, and it would explode on him while he's trying to get out. And if you catch Shakur while he's trying to back out, you'll catch him in a compromising situation. And I feel like, because he always leaning back when he's getting out the way. So if you catch him in that situation, it could be a bad day. It could be a bad night. It could be like Zab Judah versus Costa Zoo, when Zab tried to get out there and Costa clipped him. Then he stood back up, fell again. It could be one of those nights for Shakur. Not putting nothing past Dos Santos. Or Shakur could just rise to the level, rise to the challenge, put his open wide stance and box the hell out of Edwin Dos Santos. I'm talking about just like hitting him, making him feel it. Because like I told people, Shakur's power has risen since he got the 135. Like I said, Bud's power from 135 to 140 to 147, you see his done became remarkable. At 147, he's knocking everything out. At 140, he was knocking out more than 135. At 135, his muscles was bunched up, so he didn't have the power. But now we see what's happening. And now I feel like Shakur, this is his 2nd fight at 135. His power will be exponentially more. Now, let me go to this last fight. Then we're going to open up the discussion with Amber and my co-host, Key Alexandra. Peace and blessings, and welcome to the show, Key. The last fight that I was going to talk about with the big upset is Boo Boo and David Benavidez. Now, Father Time is never defeated. But if Father Time and Boo Boo can change their hands back a little bit, David Benavidez is in trouble. He's in serious trouble because he's going against an athletic fighter with angles and that has comparable power. David Benavidez's power is not there. He's a flat surface, squared fighter. Like, he squares up when he fights, which is a no-no. When you square up, you're off balance. You can be knocked on your ass real quickly when you're squared up. And like I said, when a boxer is square, he can't generate the power, the torque from his punches. So David Benavidez, when he throws them punches, the bunches and bunches of punches, they're all coming from his arms and his shoulders. It ain't really got no weight, no thrust, no torque behind them shots. If David Benavidez actually sat down on his shots and took his time and let them things loose, he would be very, very dangerous. And he'll punch a whole lot harder than what he does now. If he can take the time to sit there and sit down and let him go. But Boo Boo, he's going to be awkward. Like I told y'all with Navarrete and Valdez, I said that awkwardness is going to kill. He's going to use his long ability. He's going to be awkward. He's going to be hitting in spurts, jabbing, and Boo Boo's just going to keep him frustrated. He's going to keep the man very frustrated. And I feel like, look, if he can't contest with Boo Boo, that Canelo fight is farther and farther away. And that's just how I feel about that right there. Now, Key, Coach Amber, we got the stage open. Let's go ahead. Let's get the open discussion. Welcome to the stage, Key. Go ahead and get your intro in.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Shout out to you, Upper. Hey, Coach Amber. Hey, Queen. It's been a minute. I hope everything is okay with you. Been okay with you. Shout out to everybody that is here. Justin, all things as always. Salute to you, King. Shout out to Ping One. I've never seen that name, but shout out, welcome. Make sure you like and subscribe to my boys Upper's channel. Shout out again to D1.
Yeah, Ping's a regular. He just been gone for. Ping's a regular. He been gone for a little minute.
Oh, okay. Well, shout out to Ping. Shout out to D1. Shout out to J.A. Dixon, Daryl Thick Pen. Shout out to everybody that's here. Coach Amber, what you got to say, Queen?
Well, first off, I got to give you your props for that. That was a spontaneous interview, and that was like really, really dope. Thank you also for putting, my question out there. After I asked it, I was like, duh. But yeah, like that. Honestly, that was dope all the way around, being spontaneous like that. It's up to Upper wherever he wants to start.
Oh, I told y'all to go ahead and open it up and open up the panel. Like
Okay.
we go.
Well, then, Key, wherever you want to start. You want to start with Devin, Shakur, David?
I think we talked.
Chat. Which one do y'all want to start first? Shakur, Devin, or David? We let the chat decide. Nick J said, I don't think David Benavidez can afford to do that. He's not the fastest, so he has to get out the way. Not the best way he can. Learn to be patient. That plant fight, so I think he will be fine. Yep, that's why
I see two for David. I see two for David. 3 for David.
Huh?
I see 3 for David.
Right,
David Benavidez. You want to start it with David?
Yeah, we can start with David. D1, you can hop up here if you want to. Marquis, salute, King. David Benavidez, he needs to win this fight. Because if he wins this fight, then he punches his ticket to the Canelo sweepstakes. And while he's doing that, Jamal Charlo needs to beat his brother's tail. And like I said, I feel like around the third, fourth round, Jamal Charlo is going to snap back and remember his greatness. And I think he's going to wash Jose Benavidez. And if David Benavidez beats Boo Boo, then he got Canelo in May. And if Jamal Charlo wins, then he gets Canelo in September. And I hope it works out that way. So Jamal Charlo can get a tune-up fight at 168, like with Caleb Plant. Because as we heard on this show the other day with the coach up here, we heard Morrell has sent Caleb Plant, David Morrell has sent Caleb Plant a contract, and Caleb Plant and his people haven't got back with David Morrell and his people yet. And I don't think Caleb Plant wants that Morrell fight, but we actively trying to push it, and his team is too. But yeah, Caleb Plant, him and Jamal fight after Jamal win and David win. But if David loses, then Jamal Charlo doesn't get a chance to fight at 168. He's going to be thrust right into a Canelo fight in May. Canelo only fights in May and September. The only way Charlo gets that extra shot and fights in September is if David Benavidez wins. But David Benavidez is going against an undefeated Boo Boo Andrade, who he had a chance to fight a year and a half ago, but priced himself out saying he wanted at least $10 million to fight. At least that's what his dad say. And it's crazy because everybody knows Boo Boo is a handful. Like, Boo Boo's not no slow leak. And Boo Boo is confident enough to sit there and box you 12 rounds, but he will go for the stoppage. And he's awkward. But he starts off real good and he gasses. I think he fades later on in fights. And like we told y'all, a fighter might come into the ring weighing one weight, but a fighter might lose between 8 to 10 pounds in a fight because they losing weight. That's not the same one. Aunt McQueen, peace and blessings, King. Welcome to the show. But yeah, I think David Benavidez, what he's gonna have to do, he's gonna have to cut the distance off. He can't let Boo Boo get in his rhythm. If Boo Boo gets into his rhythm and starts pop shotting David from the mid range and from the outside with that, because Boo Boo has a great jab. And if he can start pop shotting David and then moving away and keep pop shotting David, it's going to be a long night. David's going to have to make Boo Boo uncomfortable. He's going to have to get in there and get in close, rough him up a little bit. 2 cents boxing, peace and blessings. He's going to have to be able to rough him up, get him off his square, get him off his pivot. Like, you got to get him off his pivot, because if you don't get Boo Boo off his pivot, Boo Boo's going to make you pay all night. That's why Canelo didn't want to fight Boo Boo. He called him a horrible fighter because he makes you look horrible when you fight him. Boo Boo is the worst person to fight because he makes you look bad. It's hard to look good versus Boo Boo. And Boo Boo will slow the tempo down, and he will sit there and beat you down slowly. But one thing I've noticed about Boo Boo, he starts off real great, but he gasses. Now, he can't gas against a stamina beast like David Benavidez, because if he do, he's going to get swarmed, and he's going to get hit with bunches and bunches of punches. But I think Boo Boo can take everything David dishes out, and I feel like if Boo Boo comes in strong and ready, David Benavidez is going to get his first loss. It's going to be an upset. That's what upset I said. But go ahead. I'm going to let y'all go in there. You drop this link just in case, though.
Okay. So thank you for your insight. I definitely agree with the latter of what you said. When I went back and was looking at Benavidez versus Plant, one thing that I did notice about Benavidez is that when Caleb Plant will be the aggressor, do the pop shots is what you were saying that Andrade has to do. Benavidez was countering. He was messing, I think it was like the first, maybe it was round 2, round 3. He was messing Benavidez up. I'm sorry, messing Plant up with them counters. That's how he, in my opinion, now I could be missing something, but from what I've seen, that's I think that's how he was able to truly like get in there with Plant and strategically start breaking that man down. I do give Plant credit though, because the beating that he took, he did not stop. The man kept coming. And also another thing that people might not know about Benavidez, when I was doing a little bit of research, it said that he used to spar with Triple G when he was like 15, 16 years old. And that he used to spar with Kelly Pavlik. So Benavidez, I just feel like the same thing with Morrell. If someone was going to get Benavidez out of there, or if there was like this special formula, they should have did it when he was like 7, 8, 9-0, 10-0. But now that Benavidez has pretty much come into his own in that gas tank, I think Coach Amber was speaking on that about 2 weeks ago, that he just keeps coming and coming, like he just won't stop. And one thing that we do know, especially with Andrade's fight with, what was that dude name that they called the cab driver? Was it Quigley or something like that? He was really slow, and he does get off to a slow start. So that's what I worry about with Andrade. But we do know, like Upper said, that there was a lot of people Benavidez didn't sign up to fight Andrade the first time. So he's seen something there too, like, because this is not negating Andrade's, I just want Andrade. I just want to say the E at the end. But this is not negating his skills. You feel me? Like, he's a very good fighter. But I just think that Benavidez got too much. I think it's just going to be too much for him to overcome. I don't see this going 12. I've stood on this, regardless of who wins. If this goes 12, I will be very, very surprised. But I just think that gas tank with Benavidez, his counters, is going to be an issue. how he was able to strategically just place shots on Caleb Plant, even when Caleb Plant was coming in, because there was some rounds when Caleb Plant tried to rush in, if y'all remember. And Benavidez didn't, get too excited. He didn't sway. He stayed with the plan. He was very patient and just was cracking them. So I'm the closer that this fight gets to. At first, I was saying Benavidez, but I'm like, man, Andrade that's a cold brother. But the more closer I get, the more I'm just studying both of their styles of fight. I just think that Benavidez got too much. Coach Amber Queen, what you got to say about that?
The only reason I have any type of hesitation on this fight is just because of Boo Boo and just the decisions that he made and his activity. As far as David's power, I do believe that David does have power, but he has accumulating power.
Didn't he headbutt him like in the seventh round or something? Coach Ever was like the seventh round, or it was a liver shot or something. It was something that happened like around the seventh round that changed the whole tempo of the fight. I can't remember what happened.
Against Plant?
Yeah.
Yeah. He caught him. He caught him with a body shot. I don't remember if it was to the liver, but yeah, he definitely heard the like. I mean, we've talked about it all the time. There's a difference between a thudding shot and a snapping shot.
Yeah.
I seen Nick J posted in the chat, and she's absolutely right. David, being as long and lanky as he is and as big as he is, if he does sit down on his punches, that gives the opponent it leaves him vulnerable to stay in the pocket or the line of fire too long. Which is probably you know what I mean?
On that, but he's defeating a lot of his power with that. Like he can sit back and develop a straight or a jab with power. Like he's diminishing his power by over 50%. Zeta, salute, Kate.
I mean, like I don't want to dig too far into my coaching bag, but everybody's supposed to fight according to their body type. He's long, he's lanky, he's big, and especially somebody that is a pot shotter like Boo Boo. The last thing he want to do is stay in one place for too long. Yeah. Like that's the last thing you want to do. I do believe he has power, but it's accumulating power. Like he's not just gonna hit you with one punch and lay you out. Like no, he's gonna soften you up like a butcher shot until he breaks you down.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, this fight is super interesting. I'm super excited about it. I think I know what David's gonna show up. It's just determining on what Boo Boo is gonna show up. I'm leaning towards David, but I mean we'll see.
Rachel and Donito, salute. Rachel and Donito, y'all always welcome to get up here. Get another boxing coach combo up here.
Rachel on my Mount Rushmore. I already told her that she on my Mount Rushmore.
Rachel and Donito, that's my favorite boxing family right there. Me and Donito brothers.
I think that I agree with what you guys are saying about how this can go for either way. Dank Lucane made the comment that Boo Boo is not Caleb Plant. He's going to move. I didn't say that he was. I was just comparing the styles. And one thing that Boo Boo does do is he takes a while to warm up. Now, with that being said, can he do that with the David Benavidez? Absolutely not. I mean, I don't think anybody will say, oh yeah, just go ahead and take a few rounds off. Can you actually do that with the David Benavidez, Coach Amber? Take a few rounds off or have a slow start? I don't think so. Like, am I wrong for thinking that way?
I
wouldn't say.
I don't know about taking rounds off, but I would definitely try to bank them in responsibly, if that makes sense.
I wouldn't say, Brandon House, salute, King. I wouldn't. No, this is his second fight at 168, Nick J. You know he fought that the Bond guy, the one that Edward Berlanga dropped 4 times in the first round. But I wouldn't say take a round off, but I would say pace yourself in the round and try to hit and don't get hit. Like try to sit back and you know take a couple shots and not engage as much so you can conserve a little bit if you want to take a round off. Instead of taking a round off, just go half mass that round. Like, conserve your energy. Take a shot when they get close. Try to just use the jab, no power shots. Because as you throw it, you wind up that Turk to throw them shots. That's taking away your stamina. Like, that's what Canelo problem used to be. Like, even he fought Bivol said it. Like, all he throw is heavy shots. Like, he's throwing heavy shots. So when you throw heavy shots, that diminishes your power. It takes away from it. That's why you want to have a variations. And see, Boo Boo is good at changing levels and varying his shots. And see, like I said, David has stamina, but I really don't say David has any real. The only thing that he has over Andrade is his stamina, because it's not boxing ability, it's not footwork. Because David, his footwork is terrible. He gets tripped up because he's always
we have been over this.
He's always squaring himself up. Like David's always squaring himself up. Like if you watch, he'll trip over his own feet. You're not supposed to square yourself up. When you square yourself up, it's easier for you to get knocked out. It's easier for you to get knocked down. And you're not throwing with power when you square it up. Like you're off balance. Like being square with your legs spread and straight down from your shoulders, that's not a great position. You want to be perpendicular with a foot in front. So true. Peace and blessings, King. You want to be perpendicular and you want to have your knees bent slightly and either be on the balls of your feet or on the tip of your on your soles or on the balls of your foot. You want to be on either one, like your front foot or on your heels. You don't want to just be flat-footed right there in a square position, because right there, that provides no security, no strength, no defensive specials or nothing right there. You just set yourself up to get hit like in the shooting game, like ducks in a barrel. That's what I'm trying to say.
But can't the same be said about Boo Boo though? That his legs be gone from underneath him as well? Because some people argue that Damon Nicholson, that was a knockdown.
Yeah, I can say that too, but we also got to realize that was his first time at that weight. And I feel like Boo Boo, he starts off pretty quickly. I feel like Boo Boo, his problem is he fades in fights. I feel like the first 5-6 rounds, you're going to get classic Boo Boo. Now, we don't know what Boo Boo going to do after the 6th round. But like I said, for the first 5-6 rounds, we're going to get classic Boo Boo. We're going to have Boo Boo that's out there making a person miss, firing, doing all that right there.
But I just think that even with that's this first time being acclimated to the weight, was Damon Nicholson enough to get him ready for David Benavidez? That's number one. Number two, that in my opinion, in my humble opinion, and I like Boo Boo. You know what I'm saying? I do. The only reason why I don't have Boo Boo on my pound for pound is that he isn't as consistent as I would like for him to be. Yeah. But I do know and realize a lot of people have ducked him. I will give that to him. Or just plain out just don't want to fight him. So, but I think that, will this get, what was that last fight enough to get him ready for a Benavidez, especially with him getting knocked down like that? Because in my humble opinion, that was a knockdown. It should have been counted. Yeah. But it wasn't. So that's what concerns me. You know what I'm saying? Because as bad as as good of a fight that was with Benavidez and Plant, one thing that Plant didn't do was knock Benavidez down. No one has. So
Robert has not. David's been knocked down a couple times.
David's hit, yeah, a couple flash knockdowns.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, he has. But I just think that it hasn't been like consistent or anything, and it hasn't, like, to be honest, I haven't seen anybody truly like expose David. I guess that's what I'm really trying to say. Like, I haven't seen anyone pretty much expose David Benavidez. Because what are his flaws in his game that y'all see besides the feet? What else?
He has no defense. David Benavidez, he's there to be hit. Like, he has no head movement. David Benavidez is easy to hit. And that's why I said if he was to fight Canelo that fought Charlo, David Benavidez would get stopped because his offense is his defense. He tries to swarm you with punches so you can't throw nothing back. And see, he's a lot quicker than most of them fighters because he's throwing, like I said, from the shoulders and from the arms. So he's able to get his punches off quicker. But if you get somebody quick enough, they can punch in between his punches. They're going to knock him down like Ronald Gaville did. Like, you just got to catch him in between punches. That's the way you beat David Benavidez because he has no defense, has no movement, none of that. He's just like a locomotive that just keep coming.
Okay, so do you think that Boo Boo will be able to catch him as he coming in?
Yes, I really do. Boo Boo is an accurate puncher.
Okay, go ahead. You said he's an accurate puncher?
Yes, Boo Boo is very accurate, but he's awkward.
I don't know. I want to hope and pray that Boo Boo can pull this off. I like Boo Boo. I just think that Benavidez is too much. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm still, like I said, the closer we get, my definitely, it changes every day. But I don't know, man. I just think that Boo Boo Benavidez might be a little too much for him, and that's a good point, Cena.
I think so.
Oh, go ahead, Queen.
No, I was just gonna say I think so too, but the thing is, Andrade, we haven't seen him like fully tested, and again he's hitting the 168. I honestly don't know, but again, back to the footwork. Flat-footed does not equal bad footwork. Everybody says Earl's flat-footed. It's foot placement. It's like, I don't want people to confuse the fact that
when I say flat feet, I'm saying his feet are flat. Like, he has them square. I'm not talking about a person that they say flat-footed and fight on his feet. I'm talking about when his feet is flat. He has them flat across. They're not square. He's square, not perpendicular. That's when I say his is flat, like straight across.
You mean he lines up right on the line? Right on the line instead of corner to corner.
His feet are parallel, like he's standing up there about to shoot a free throw. His feet are flat across.
I don't think I've ever noticed that because he's so long. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never noticed it that irritates me when people are parallel. Yeah, like I'll explain it corner to corner.
Yeah, okay. Like, you know how people stand to take a free throw shot, right? They stand at the line.
Yes, and they would just turn to the right, like on guard. I know what you're saying.
David is just like that. Like, he squares up. He's flat in front of a person. He doesn't have no shoulder forward. He's square right in front of a people. His arms, his shoulders are square. His feet are square. He's standing square in front of a person, throwing bunches of shots. He has no tilt to his shoulders. He doesn't have no shoulder ahead of each other. He's just right there square throwing shots with both hands. Go back and look. That's what he does. He squares up. He squares up too much. And that's why he trips over his feet and stuff.
One thing that
show, Ant. Go ahead, Queen.
Peace, upper peace. I was just agreeing with Coach Amber because I was going to say the same thing. I don't think that necessarily being flat-footed is a bad thing because, again, you want to be able to maximize your power if you got some pop or, whatever the case may be. And if you're up on your toes a little bit quicker. No. I agree. That's what I was saying. That's why I agree with both of you because, and I was just saying the D1 in the chat, like, I don't think that the flat-footedness is a problem, but it's the bad habits that he has, like Coach Amber alluded to with foot placement. And I saw that a lot with David. When you watch when he gets dropped by Graville, he kind of
He
allows
was
himself to
square.
drift into bad positions.
He
It
was
wasn't
square.
even that he squared up for one, but also he stepped in a little bit too close. He just stepped in a little bit too close, and it seems like his feet get ahead of him sometimes. Because also when he's coming forward, his footwork, his technique is a little inconsistent.
Exactly.
Sometimes he'll literally just walk forward and crossing his feet. Sometimes when he's coming forward, he'll keep that back leg spring loaded, and he'll come forward. It'll be back foot first, lead foot second. So it's like his
Exactly. That's what
footwork,
I'm
his
talking about. He
technique is
was
just very
right.
inconsistent.
Square.
And then when he throws punches, sometimes he does have that tendency to square himself up.
Exactly. And when you square, guess what happens? When you square up like that, it's easy to get knocked down because you have no balance. You have no center of gravity. What you're doing, you have yourself open. There's no balance, no center of gravity, or nothing. And you're easy to be knocked on your arse, as the English people say it.
That is definitely true. And one thing that I do remember with Boo Boo, I do want to give him some props on this though. With the Nicholson fight, um, with his last fight, when did that occur? Like what? It was. I know it was this year. What was it? January. When did
Yeah,
whenever?
I'm thinking it might have been like January. It was either
Nah,
like
it
the
was like
11th or the
January.
22nd, one of those.
Nah,
It
it
was in
was
Okay.
on
January though.
somebody's card. It was on somebody's card. I'll look it up real quick. It was on
No, no,
a.
I was just saying. I was just wanting to make sure I had it accurate that it was this year. But one thing that I do
I think it was close
appreciate,
to that.
huh?
I think it was close to that. Go ahead. I'm gonna look it up though.
Okay. Um, one thing that I do appreciate that what Boo Boo did in that fight, because Nicholson is younger. But one thing that I do appreciate in that fight was how Boo Boo was able to attack him at angles. He was very, very quick.
It was on Benavidez's first card, that January card he had with who was that first card? Was that first card in January?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he was on that card. Let me see.
Okay. But
January 7th.
okay. But I do like the fact that how quick he was and how he was able to drop Nicholson on a couple of those. Was one of them was at an angle. You know what I'm saying? He's you know how he like his hands just kept coming. So this is gonna be a very, very good fight. A very interesting fight. I can't wait to see the style matchup because they're so different. I do I I'm still leaning towards Benavidez, but again, next week it might change, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Hey, and that's the good thing about being a boxing fan, because nothing's set in stone. You might see something that you didn't see before, and hey, it might change your whole perception, your whole perspective of it. You know.
And one thing about it, since Boo Boo haven't been as consistent because everybody been, not wanting to fight him or ducking him. Just because he's what, 35, 36, he might be a young 35, 36 because of the fact that he ain't
Yeah,
got
we
that
talking
wear and
about it.
tear like that. At least for the past 2 to 3 years, he ain't got that much wear and tear like that. So he might be a little spring chicken. We never know. We never know.
Brian
Do you guys
King, salute. Peace and
do you guys
blessings.
do you guys think it's something to raise an eyebrow at the fact that Benavidez was it that he declined the VADA testing or something
Yeah,
that's going on with Benavidez and he
yeah.
declined?
It was like he didn't like the Olympic style testing where they test you a couple times a week. Like I think he had a problem with that. And like I tell people all the time, it's hard to catch people that's clean boxers. Like it's a lot of people that use enhancements. I told y'all that. Like that's the sad thing of our sport. A lot of people they have to use something to help them stay on the level with everybody else. Like not everybody is athletically gifted as our favorite fighters. So a lot of times other fighters have to overcompensate. And yes, peace and blessings. Black all day, even at night, and my guy Brian King. But yeah, it's something to raise your head at, especially. But like Rachel Donaire told us, like it costs a lot of money for that VADA testing, like getting year round testing. Like she said, it's like $20,000 to $30,000 or something like that. But when you got a fight coming, I feel like you're supposed to get that random VADA. Oh, Zayna, he
Oh,
declined it. Zayna, like he declined to get it done 2-3 times a week, like freestyle testing. Zayna.
Other than that, coming out of the camp, I haven't seen anything like tangible that he actually like declined it.
I haven't either. I just heard I heard a podcast talking about it and I was like, that's interesting. I'm surprised, but I didn't really put too much weight on it. I heard this last week, but I didn't put too much weight on it for the simple fact that it didn't make too much noise. You get what I'm saying? Like it still hasn't.
Well,
Um
I'm gonna tell you a lot of things won't make noise when it comes to other fighters. It's about our fighters where the noise really gets made anyway. Like Jose Diaz told y'all about that 2 days ago. He told you when it's Mexican and white fighters, they don't really make a big stink about it. He told you it's just when the black fighters have a problem, that's when they really try to bring out the watchdogs and everything.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know plenty of PBC fighters. I mean, Earl's never really complained, but it's been, I've seen it, through Blu-ray, through interviews, that especially, I believe it was the Porter fight where he was getting tested 2-3 times a week,
yeah,
and
they
not
do
just like
bogus.
blood tests. And I'm like, I hate getting poked with needles. Like doing that 2-3 times a week during camp, like that's gotta suck. And Charlo, they said that he said that they pulled up to his grandma in Louisiana, and I mean, if anything, I think they probably test them a little bit more than they do other folks, but that's neither here nor there. But I don't know. I mean, if that's the case, definitely there's something to raise an eyebrow. But I haven't like seen anything tangible other than somebody just coming out and saying that.
Correct. I wonder as we get closer to the fight because we're still a month away. Will that be one of the talking points? One of the banters. When they go back and forth, or would they put a magnifying glass on that? We'll never know. It'll probably be up to podcasts such as this and others to really bring that out in the forefront. But if it's quieted down and it hasn't picked up any steam, I can't see it causing too much of anything, to be honest with you. I do believe that Dank Lucane had made a comment on a previous podcast today. I've seen it, where he feel as though that it might be some upsets going on. So the prestigious Coach Amber and Aunt McQueen. What do you guys think? Who do you guys have being the upsets in these fights as far as Benavidez versus Boo Boo, Shakur versus De Los Santos, and Devin versus Regis?
Who want to go first?
The floor is yours, Coach.
I got Shakur beating De Los Santos. David versus Boo Boo. I'm leaning towards David, but I agree with Key that because of the inactivity, because he hasn't been through knockout, drag out wars, he could be perfectly preserved. So honestly, I'm excited to see that fight. I'm rooting for my guy David. I really can't pick on that one. Devin versus Regis, which we really haven't got to talk too much about, because I think Upper said that he was like 20 pounds overweight. He looked 20 pounds overweight, which actually, considering they're 6 weeks out, isn't that bad. That would mean he'd have to cut, 3 pounds per week, roughly 3.5 pounds per week, and that's actually kind of healthy. But I mean, we didn't even get to talk about that one. I don't know. I mean, I'll make my prediction. Regis could possibly upset that one. And I get why Regis is upset because he is the champ. But I'm not sure if I expect an upset with that one. To me, that's 50-50. To me, the upset would be Boo Boo, if anything.
Okay. And what about the Dev versus Regis fight? Who do you have winning that fight? And can you see an upset with that, Miss Amber?
I can. Well, I don't know what the odds are right now. I don't know what the odds are. I know a lot of people. At first, everybody was picking Regis, and they go back and forth. I'm kind of leaning towards Devin, just because, like Upper said, he's a lot bigger, and I don't expect him to be there that long. It's just a matter of whether his power does carry. However, if Regis does win, it will definitely be an upset. Um, if I got to pick though, I would go with Devin.
What about you, King, Mr. Ant McQueen? How do you feel, sir?
I'm pretty much in alignment with Coach Amber, but for me, when it comes to Devin and Regis, it's not so much just a matter of the power, but there are a couple of tendencies that I've seen with Dev, and I think if he can minimize those, I feel like he maximizes his chances. I do like him to win the fight, but again, there are just a couple of things that he's done in previous matchups similar to this one, being open stance, fighting against a southpaw, and I think if he could just minimize those things, I like his chances a lot more. And I'm not sure whether or not Regis is going to capitalize on him, like particularly his tendency to be a little bit lazy when he probes. If you go look at that Loma fight again, or even the Jojo Diaz fight again, he got hit with some pretty good shots in those instances in particular. Like he's got a tendency to be stationary when he's probing. So I think that's one thing I think needs to be sorted out in this type of matchup. And I'm not sure exactly how effective his jab is going to be. So he's got to make sure that brick hand is on point. I think he's got to turn him, stay away from Regis's left hand. He's got the reach advantage, so I like his chances in that. Edwin De Los Santos and Shakur, I would be extremely surprised if De Los Santos won that fight, or even if he made it a fight. No disrespect to him. I just think the disparity in skill is just that great. And as far as Boo Boo and Benavidez, if there were to be an upset, that would be my pick as well, for a couple of reasons. I think Benavidez is also, again, another one of those open stance matchups. He's fought one southpaw in his career. That was Dennis Douglas. He went 10 with him. And one thing I noticed in that fight, his jab is typically pretty good, but in that fight, it wasn't really working too well. So that forced him to throw his brick hand. And when he throws his brick hand, especially when he's moving forward, as Upper alluded to before, he does have the tendency to square himself up when he's throwing some of those punches. And Key, also, you made a mention of the angles that Boo Boo was using in the fight against Damon Nicholson. He's done that in quite a few fights, because one of the homies and I, we actually started doing a film study on it. There was a fight that he had with Walter Caltendagua. And when this dude threw that right hand, the way he pivoted around him and just stepped around him, thing of beauty. And he does that. He does that regularly. It's a regular occurrence with him. He's also really good with changing those levels. I think that the biggest elephant in the room in regard to this fight is whether or not the age or the inactivity is going to play a part. I know there's some questions about his gas tank. Me, I'm not overly concerned with his gas tank, because I do believe that there's a difference between gassing and coasting. You know, if you've gone to the distance in 41% of your fights, and the vast majority of these fights have been unanimous decisions, like I don't even think he has any like split decisions or majority decisions. I don't know if that whole gassing thing is if that's really going to hold weight in that regard. And another thing is this too: what happens if you're missing shots and you're being hit? And I think that this is a very interesting matchup, because statistically, Boo Boo is one of the better defensive fighters in boxing, and offensively, David Benavidez is among the leaders in terms of like plus minus. So I think it's a good clash of styles, and it's just going to come down to, like my guy just said down here, man. That's the question mark, age and inactivity. And I just want to say one more thing, because Key, you made an excellent point about him preserving himself. To my understanding, he lives a very clean lifestyle. The guy is a vegan. He don't drink. He don't smoke. So he could be a young 35. Like, this could be one of those, you see an old 64 Chevy Impala that's been well maintained, as opposed to like a kid that's been ran down. So it's interesting. But if I had to pick an upset, it would probably be that one.
Right. And thank you for that. That was a really good breakdown by the both of you guys, Coach Amber and Aunt McQueen. For me, how I pictured, I'm gonna start with the first fight that's happening, which will be
Key was about to cook. Upper, what's your pick about the upset till she get back?
Yeah.
Let her back on.
about that. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. I had my computer, of course, as always. But anyways, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna start with the first one. So I feel as though with De Los Santos and Shakur. I think that the only upset, because of course Shakur is the favorite to win. What makes me think that I think De Los Santos will have his moments, but I think the fact that Shakur spars consistently with Bud, he has been in there with Boots. One thing that I admire about Shakur, I have always admired, he's not afraid to get in there and learn. He's not going in there to dominate. You know what I'm saying? With sparring, he's actually going in there to learn. And so I truly appreciate that about him, and the other fighters that do that as well. And I just think, I don't know, I just feel like he's in a whole different mindset right now. And he knows what this fight is, because he has talked his way into a lot of craziness this past few months. I'm not going to put everything on Devin, because Shakur is not innocent in this, right? So, but he has talked his way into a lot. He has called out fighters like Loma and Frank Martin, rightfully so, with Loma for ducking him. Frank Martin, I'm still on the fence about that. I'm still one of the very few that say I don't think it was a duck. Y'all could get on me in the comments later. You feel me? And of course, it's all love. I'm still a little, 50-50 about that, because we don't know the information like that. But Loma for sure does them. And so with that being said, by him creating this persona of the boogeyman, he better come to deliver. I don't think he truly have he don't have a choice, because if he underwhelms in this fight, remember when Boots fought Karen, when he was calling out Spence and Crawford, and everybody was like, yo, you didn't even get dude about it, and was like really getting down on Boots for an underwhelming performance, even though I thought Boots did well, because Karen was an awkward fighter. So I just think that the pressure, the most pressure will be put on Shakur, because of all the talking that he's done within this past few months. This persona that he's built up. Okay, you're the boogeyman. Why? You know what I'm saying? See, Boots was able to redeem himself with his last fight. I've always been said that Boots was the boogeyman, but especially when he pulled that Matrix move in that in that ring, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was bananas to me. So he redeemed himself. Now Shakur, can he afford to have a lackluster performance? No, he cannot. It won't for me, even if he loses, like that will be an upset, but it will be how he loses. You get what I'm saying? Because of this persona, this image that he's built around himself. That's
I,
what I feel Shakur.
I feel what you're saying, but what I feel like, right, with Shakur, I feel like Shakur, like Bud them said, Shakur, he's really focused on, like, you remember when Tank was old chubby face Tank and he was missing the weigh-ins and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started taking his craft seriously. Like Earl started taking his craft seriously. I think Shakur, he used to drink. Now Shakur, he's taking his craft seriously. He's in there sparring with Bud. Like he was with Bud the whole training camp versus Earl. Like Bud even said Shakur does some things that I can't do in the ring. And I feel like Shakur is evolving into a whole different level of fighter. But what I've also said as well is sparring is a whole lot different from game day. Like you can spar until the cows come home. But when you get in there game day with reaction speed with the 8 ounce gloves, and you in there and somebody's really trying to take your head off and you trying to take their head off, it's a big difference. And I feel like Shakur is going to be pushed to the limit. Like I said, Richardson Hitchison said that Del Santos is something special, something that Shakur hasn't seen before. And Richardson Hitchison is a great fighter. He's been in there sparring with Floyd, and Floyd has taught him. Like Floyd has taught the African a lot of the stuff. That's what his name is, the African. And for him to sit there and say that this is a 50-50 fight, because he's in the ring with Shakur a lot, and he's in the ring with Del Santos. And for him to say it's a 50-50 fight, I put a lot of stock into that. But I feel like this is the type of fight that will make Shakur go in his bag and elevate him. Like when I say iron sharpened iron, and I say that fighters need to have a great fight to become a lot greater. This is one of them fights right there where a fighter evolves. This is like Earl versus Kell Brook, where he evolved into a greater fighter. This is like Floyd versus Jab. This is like Floyd versus Oscar. This is like Floyd. Every time he fought a great fighter, he became that much greater. So when he came to Money Mayweather, he was able to incorporate all that into his style. That's what I'm saying. So as you fight a great fighter, you become even more greater. That's why I say, like when playing chess, if you play against people that are on the same level you or below your level, you don't advance. But when you challenge yourself and you go against somebody that piques your curiosity, that piques your psyche, that stimulates you mentally, that will cause you to grow as a fighter and cause you to advance. And I feel like this is the fight that Shakur needs to have him a secure S-class fighter right here. And I feel like it might be tough at first, but then I feel like the pedigree and like we always say, it all comes out in the wash. And I feel like eventually it's going to be some separation. And we've done seen that Del Santos, he's going to be in the best shape ever. Because we see after a certain amount of rounds, Del Santos puts it in cruise control. And you'll be hard pressed to find a fight where Shakur has lost more than one round in a fight. Matter of fact, I would like for you to pick a fight where he's lost a round in. So I feel like Shakur, he's going to have to push it to the max. And I feel like we're going to see a great showing and we're going to see a great Shakur. And I feel like this is the beginning of a legacy for him. And hey, I'm just glad we get the fight. And I feel like this is a better fight than Frank Martin because De Los Santos has more tools than Frank Martin. And yes, Frank did duck Shakur because they agreed, and then he went back after he seen. I don't care what the reason was. They didn't even try to negotiate or renegotiate the contract. He pulled all the way out. But that's how I feel about that.
I still say no. We will always disagree on this point.
But we
Upper.
call balls and strikes here.
But I definitely get what you're saying. For me, again, I don't have Shakur losing this fight at all. I don't even think he's gonna lose a round. I think that Shakur is gonna come up and show up and show out. I'm just saying, if what if it's an underwhelming performance because he didn't talk his way to this image of a boogeyman. That's all I'm saying. I'm looking at that. Because I stand with my fighters regardless, win, lose, or draw, and I like Tank and I like Shakur. So I think that De Los Santos will have his moments, but I think Shakur. I think Shakur is just too good, man. I'm gonna keep saying that. Like I think Shakur is just on a whole different level, and I think we're about to see that. Like Upper said, The upset for me, the biggest upset for me would be if Boo Boo beat Benavidez because I just can't see it at this point. And again, like I said yesterday, and like I've been ringing a bell on, I have Devin completely washing Regis. If Regis was to beat Devin, it'd just be, oh, it's his first fight at 140, and it's a whole different weight and all this other stuff. So I think that he's pretty padded there if he was to lose, but I don't think Devin is going to lose. Like, I just can't see Devin. Devin is a way better boxer than Regis. Yeah. Anything on that, Coach Amber or Aunt McQueen?
Oh.
Well,
I'm gonna say something. Devin may be a better boxer, but like I've told them, I've sit there and watched and went back and looked at some of the Devin sparring videos now. And like I said, I don't see Devin with the quick twitch muscles. I see him hitting the bag. And you can tell a lot from a person hitting the bag. And I see as he's hitting it, he's putting his effort into it, but he's not repelling the bag. He's not making his dimensions in the bag. Like, he's not exuding his force into the bag. And that's why Regis said them soft shots. Like, Devin don't have that snap. He don't have that crisp. Like, I feel like Devin is he's a surface puncher. Like, he's the type of puncher where he can accumulate damage. And, he's not one of them that give you that deep tissue massage when he hits you. Like, Devin is not a big puncher. Like, he has the technique, but he doesn't have the quick twitch muscles. And, like, is it me, or does he seem kind of awkward a little bit? Like, he seems a little top heavy. Like, it's just something.
Who are you talking about, Upper? Devin or Regis?
Devin. It's just like something, the way he's shaped, like top heavy. Like, the way, like, it's like his upper body compared to his legs, and the way he punches. Like, he reminds me of Soda Popsky. He reminds me of Soda Popsky off Punch Out. And he reminds you of Soda Popsky. And like the way he tries to throw his punches, like Devin, yes, he has all the technique, but he's not really the greatest athlete. Like, he's not. And his footwork ain't really the greatest. Like, I've looked at it. Like, Devin, he can get cornered, he can get caught. I feel like Devin, if he doesn't have enough to keep Regis up off of him, Regis will make it a bad day. Loma was able to close the distance. Linares, he closed the distance. And people forget, Regis is a big puncher. Regis has took out a lot of his fighters, but like I said before, Regis hasn't been in there with somebody that is this skilled as Devin. Like, most of Regis fighters have been come for bang them out fights. Like, Josh Taylor was probably the most skilled fighter. Huh?
I said Taylor made for him.
Yeah, Taylor made. Like, Josh Taylor was a come forward, bang him out fight, and I felt like he won that fight, but he didn't get the nod. But I feel like Devin, he can give him angles. He's gonna be very vicious with that jab. Regis he's gonna have to be able to pin. He's gonna have to be able to pin, catch, shoot, parry, and get in close to Devin and make him pay. Now I feel like eventually, if Devin don't hurt him, I feel like Regis is gonna pull a book out of Canelo's page, a page out of Canelo's book, and try to walk him down. And if Devin can't get his respect, it's going to be a long night. Because Floyd even said, sometimes you can't outbox a fighter. Sometimes you have to stand there and fight. So we might get to see Devin's tenacity and see if he got that dog in him that everybody say. But like I said, I feel like Devin's biggest problem this fight is going to be the weight. I feel like trying to make this weight is going to take a lot out of Devin. He's still 25 pounds overweight right now. He's still 25 pounds over the 140 limit, and he still has to get down. So I'm telling you, them 5 pounds moving up really didn't help his cause that much because his body is growing. Just like Shakur basically bypassed the 130 division after a couple fights. Devin's going to be like this too, and then he's going to be up there with them killers like Boots. And then we're really going to see what Devin got. But right now, I feel like Devin, he makes weight. He'll be able to make this fight. But like I said, it's not going to be as easy as y'all think. And Bill Haney knows that it's not a sure thing. That's why they still hold on to the belts. Because if Devin does lose the Regis, then you best believe they're going to activate that WBO mandatory and fight Tio. That's why they hold on to the belts. If Devin beats Regis, they're gonna drop the belts. They're just trying to make sure they got a bird in the hand plus one in the bush. Rick Till's peace and blessings and salute, King.
I do agree with what you said. The thing is, you know what? I think I'll be having a whole different outlook and perspective. And once I'm done, Coach Amber, you can definitely chime in because I know you wanted to say something, Queen. But I think if Regis, and I know Regis is not a big talker, but I think if Regis would have came in with his rah-rah, his tough guy stuff, I would feel a lot more confident for him. But just the way he's been moving, first you say that Devin paid for a fight to get off his record that he lost, then you was in a car accident, then you put up another video about VADA testing, and then you know what I'm saying? You said that his head was big, pause, and I mean it's just certain things that he's doing, like I said yesterday. I don't know if he's getting ready for the excuse he's going to make if and when he loses this fight. I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot of weird energy. It's nothing there, and nothing that he's doing right now is showing and telling me that he is prepared. And maybe that's a red herring. Maybe that's just you know what I'm saying, like a like he playing Jedi mind tricks or something, like
Like
trying
Bud did.
to relax, huh?
Like Bud did.
Exactly. Maybe trying to get Devin to relax or something like that. But then if it doesn't work, then everybody will be able to come back and say, oh, there was he showed the signs right there. But one thing about Bud was able. It's okay. Shout out to Coach Diaz. One thing about Bud though, Bud was able to study EJ for 5 years. He had 5 years of homework on EJ. Regis only got about 3-4 months. So that's interesting. Go ahead, Coach Amber Queen. What was you going to chime in on?
Well, I mean, a lot's been covered since then, but as far as Devin, and his no power, no this, no that, Devin was he was an amateur darling. A lot of people don't know that the only reason that he went pro so young and went to Tijuana is because that Olympic style, I mean that Olympic cycle, they changed the year you have to be a certain age, whether it's 16 or 18 by this month. They changed it. And so that means he would have had to wait until a complete cycle. And the Olympics happens every 4 years. That's the same reason Virgil's daddy had him turn pro at 18, because Virgil would have been in the same boat. He would have been in his early 20s competing in the Olympics, and
it's crazy, right? Because other countries, the United States, once you can fight professionally, you can't fight in the Olympics. But other countries, they have professional fighters that can fight in the Olympics. Because over there where Loma was fighting in the amateurs, they got paid for their amateur fights. But in the United States, once you fight a professional fight, you're not allowed to go back and fight in the Olympics. Look at Pakistan. You got Manny Pacquiao that's about to fight in the Olympics. He's trying to fight in the Olympics. Like, it's crazy.
Well, he was too old, luckily. Like, don't drag me down that rabbit hole, because that's a whole other show. But there was a reason that the Haneys took the route that they did, and I understand it. Dev just happened to be 16. I mean, Virgil and Virgil Sr. took the same road, but he happened to be a little bit older. And upon hearing y'all, you know what?
I think
Devin Go ahead.
I think you're now. You going in and out.
Oh hell. They're doing it to me too?
Huh?
Can you hear me?
You got like a little beep. Every time you talk, it's like you going in and out.
All right, I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay. guy Ed. What's going on, King?
Nah, man, just reading the comments.
Oh yeah.
It's over here. Go back and forth with Zenith about this reach thing. So I think that Regis got to mix it up, and Spots look to operate as a counterpuncher. He's actually a pretty solid counterpuncher.
I figured
I was
still counter.
rewatching that fight with Rillick when he fought Carol Rillick in that tournament.
Yeah.
Where he fought Josh Taylor at the end.
Yep. I feel like instead of counter, he needs to parry, and he needs to parry a lot of them and slip a lot of them instead of trying to counter it. I feel like he need to beat Devin to the punch. Like if he can time it, beat him to the punch, and something like that, it'd be a lot more effective. Because it has been times where Devin does get lackadaisy and he does lose focus. Like Devin is like he can be hit. Cambosa showed us that. Cambosa's showed us you can hit Devin, but sometimes it's few and far between. Sometimes when he's on his game, them shots are few and far between. But what you have to do, you have to use your boxing IQ. And you have to set him up. Like people don't realize, like you have to set him up to be able to counter and hit him. B-dog, peace and blessings.
Yeah, the other day I was liking it to trying to lure a cat next to you. You know, if you go and you press a cat, you chase them, they run off. But if you're real patient and you still and you just put out a little warm energy, so to speak, you could draw them to you. And I think that's what Regis should look to do in spots. You know, flick that jab out there because he does have a short reach. And I noticed with the way that he uses his jab, he's not always looking to land the jab, but more so to create traffic, control the space in between him and his opponent.
People.
We were just looking at this yesterday, me and my guy D1. He'll throw that jab out there and get you to try to counter over the top so he can counter your counter.
Yeah,
but if he's going to press,
with it. He tries to blind you with that jab. That's what I feel like. He tries to blind you or distract you with it. Like he don't be throwing it with no bad intentions. Like he doesn't pop it out there. Like he doesn't pop that jab out there like he's trying to hit you.
It's to occupy and to bait a punch for him to counter. Because again, he's got that short reach.
Yeah.
And that that probe, man, Dev, man. Dev, if you hear this, minimize that probe. Because whenever he probes, those feet get a little lazy.
That's why I say he gets lackadaisy. He's there to get hit. Coach Amber, you're on mute.
Okay, I got about 10 minutes with you, just if I could finish off. You know what? Dev might be still stuck in the amateur pedigree because that's what it is. Just get your shots off, score, get out. But on the flip side of that, the only people that I've ever heard call Dev pillow-fisted were fans. I can't recall any of these fighters.
Regis just did.
But he hasn't fought him yet, though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he has to have respectable amount of power to keep some of these guys off of him. Because if that jab doesn't hurt, if that jab doesn't sting, I'm walking through it.
Well, you know what? He hasn't had a knockdown in over 94 rounds. And I see him hit Cambosos with everything but the kitchen sink. The second fight. And he couldn't get that man up out of there. Like, that man you should have tucked him in the bed. See, Devin doesn't have that finishing technique. He doesn't have that killer mentality. He don't know how to tuck somebody in the bed. He reminds me.
But does that equate to not having power, though? I mean, he has enough power to make somebody think about rushing in.
Well, no, it ain't got to be power. It could be a precise shot. Like, Floyd's power wasn't the greatest as he moved up in weight, but he was precise with it. He was accurate. If you can hit a person with an accurate shot, it don't have to be that much power, but the accuracy of your shot can change their mind. You should know that, Coach Amber.
I'm actually glad you said that because Floyd himself said towards the end of his career that his hands were like mush and he didn't have the same power.
Exactly. So it's the
I mean,
accuracy.
there's
Devin is
KO
very
power and respectable power, and that comes with accuracy. If you can hit somebody accurately, enough sting, it doesn't have to be that hard.
Yeah, and I think too, and that's a good point that both of you guys made. I think too that I never called Devin pillow fisted. I don't, when it comes to certain things in that ring, because I'm not in that ring, it's just certain things I will not speak on. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like his jab and everything, I think that that's one of his good selling points. A lot of people don't talk about his counter punching ability, which I've always said that Devin is like in the top 10 in boxing for his counter. Devin is a very good counter puncher. Y'all got to go back and watch some of his fights. He catches people on the inside. And it wasn't those straight body shots that Devin was landing that broke Loma ribs. If you go back to the first, second, and third rounds of that the Loma fight, you would see Devin when he was on the ropes. When Loma had him on the ropes, just look at his right hand where he was catching Loma at. He was hitting him all in his stomach. That's where that rib injury came from. But I think this is what worries me about one of the only things that worries me about Devin when it comes to this Regis. Number one, Regis is a southpaw. He's a southpaw with a little crack with some punch to him, with a little pop to him. And Devin struggles with fighting on the inside. He does not know how to make it ugly on the inside, hence the clinching a lot. But one thing about clinching too, what I've always been told is that when you are clinching in a match, it helps you measure a person's to see if they're tired or not, or to even tire the person down. So maybe that is in his strategy. And a lot of boxers have different strategies to get the win. So I can't, knock him for doing that as well. But he's fighting on the inside. That's a scary thought. And for 12 rounds, can Devin just punt, jab and run, because he's gonna have to stay on his toes. You know what I'm saying? Like I truly believe that he is going to have to use a lot more lateral movement. One thing that Loma taught him in that fight was the lateral movement, being able to use angles. He's going to have to do that in order to beat Regis, because in my humble opinion, he cannot go toe to toe with Regis, especially on the inside. Regis will catch that man with something quick and slick.
I'm glad you said that right there. That brings up my point that I was trying to get to, but I was holding it back for a second. Devin's going to be the bigger man in this fight, but he's not going to be the stronger man. See, Devin, you got to realize his muscles his muscles are calibrated for 135. So that means Regis will have more muscles than Devin in this fight, because Devin hasn't had a chance to build up his muscles correctly for the 140 division. So he might grab a hold of Regis, and Regis, being the stronger man of the two, because he has more denser muscles, will be able to tire Devin out or be able to manhandle him. Just because you're bigger don't mean that you're stronger. See, a lot of Devin's weight is going to be water and fluid. So it's not going to be muscles. It's not going to be solid. So Devin may have the weight, but Regis is going to have the density, the more effective weight. Like, he's going to have the more effective weight. Just like I say about Canelo, his base is 168 right now. Like, he has a 168 muscle tone base. So, he gets down to that base and everything else is irrelevant. And that's what I'm saying. Devin Haney base was 135, while Regis' base was 140. Now Devin's base has to be 140, but we don't know. Like I said, it takes a year to put on 8 pounds of muscle safely. So it hasn't been a year since Devin's last fight, or half a year. So, Devin is still getting his muscle density and getting his muscle on, unless and I don't want to put this jacket on nobody, but everybody keeps saying Snack. Unless Snack can give him some enhancements that's going to boost him up, because Victor Conte is known for giving people legal enhancements, not illegal, but legal enhancements to help people recover and build muscle and recover quicker. He's going to be not the stronger guy in there. And Regis is a little bull. Like I said, he wasn't He wasn't equipped to go to 147. He chose not to go there. But at 140, he rules around. He runs around as the unheralded king. So Devin's going to be up there locking horns with that guy right there. And if he locks horns too many times, he can be the one tired. And Regis has been known to pop as soon as he released off the break. Like, that's one of his good moves right there. So Devin is going to have to watch that as well. But in all, this is a heck of a fight for Devin to come up and take on the road for the first fight. But it's a lot safer than Matias and Tio for the first fight. Because, like I said, Tio is too athletic to just fight first. Like, you want to be on the same playing field as Tio if you're going to fight him. At least have another fight under your belt. Yeah, sorry about that. At least have another fight under your belt before you do that. Because Regis is the least athletic. So, he's gonna find more success against Regis than anybody else at 140.
Yeah, correct. I think it's going to be a very interesting fight. I think all three of these fights are very interesting. I've said it. I've been saying it for the past several months on various people platforms. It appears that this is the boxer puncher year, and all of the boxer punchers are pretty much sweeping up these W's. And it's very interesting because Shakur is going against a boxer puncher. Benavidez and Boo Boo are both boxer punchers. So I think that's why I'm so like, man, who is going to win this one? And then Regis is the boxer puncher versus Devin. And on paper, all of these fights are 50-50, because this has been a boxer puncher year. But from the eye test, of course, everybody has Shakur as the favorite, Benavidez as the favorite, and Devin as the favorite. So this will be interesting. I think Dank Lucane is right on the money, where he says that it could be an upset in one of these fights. It definitely can be, because one thing about it,
Three big fights.
Yes, these are big fights, and none of these people, none of these boxers are bums. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though Devin is more talented than Regis, that's not negating for the fact that Regis is a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a formidable opponent in my eyes. I'm not saying that he's washed up or anything like that.
He's like a great fundamental fighter. Like,
exactly. There you go.
Like he's like a great fighter. Like, he's like a Stanionis. He's like the Stanionis of the 140 division. Like, Stanionis is a great fundamental fighter. And if you come in there half stepping, Stanionis will beat you. But if you in there on your A game and you popping off and you firing on all cylinders, Stanionis ain't gonna beat you. But I feel like Regis, he has a ceiling. Devin's ceiling, I feel like Devin's ceiling is higher than Regis' ceiling. Like, I feel like Regis can put it in first and then he can move it to second gear. I feel like Devin has one more gear that Regis doesn't have. And I feel like that one gear is gonna hurt him. And that's okay. We just appreciate you coming up here, Coach Amber. Peace and blessings. And shout out to the king of the light skin, Omega Red. Peace and blessings, King. But yeah, that right there, I feel like he just doesn't have that other gear to switch into when he's fighting Regis. So, when he's fighting Devin. So I feel like he's going to have to push that second gear into the transmission pop. He's going to have to be able to get in there and make it a rough and dirty fight versus Devin. And he's going to have to he's going to have to keep it there. He's going to have to put his dominance down and do what he has to do. Because if not, if he lets Devin have time to sit back and think, it's going to be a long night for Regis. And I want to see if Regis is going to keep his word. Because he said he's going to walk through Devin and he's going to come through there. So Earl said that. Earl kept his word even on a losing deal. Let's see if Regis keeps his word. Let's see if
I don't think Regis is going to be able to. I don't think so, because one thing that a jab does, not only does it keep opponents off, you're able to measure. So you got to, while he got one hand in his face jabbing him back, he got to worry about the other hand, what he's going to do with that. And another thing too, hold on 1 second, Upper, one second. I didn't mean to cut you off. But one thing too, that I didn't like about that Devin and Loma fight, and I don't know who his coach was, but yo, Devin, get another coach because they had Devin fighting small with Loma. You should not fight. You like, why are you fighting his height? You can't do that. You can't, especially with a skilled opponent like Loma. So Devin, Regis is a little smaller than you, maybe a couple inches tall, shorter than you, and you have a reach advantage over him. Take advantage of it. Do not fight his size. Do not come into his territory because we saw what happened when that did. If Loma would have had a little bit more pop to it, we would be having a different conversation right now. So yo, stop doing that. And I'm saying that because outside of Tio in 140, Devin is going to be the bigger guy. So stop fighting small. You know what I'm saying? What that person say on that meme, you got to think big. Like, you got to fight big, man. If you a big dude, let it be known. Let it be shown. You a big dude, go out there and fight like it. Go ahead.
Okay. But what I was going to say, Josh Taylor, Regis walked through Josh Taylor's barrage of shots. And Josh Taylor's a bigger puncher than Devin. But if you remember, Regis buckled down and he was like, the heck with it. He went through Josh Taylor punches and cornered him. So, like I say, Regis can buckle down and bite down and walk through the punishment to give out. Because if you remember, Regis say he'd take a few shots to land some. Now, I'm figuring it's going to be a war of attrition. And Regis goes to that body. And Devin really hasn't had nobody work his body like that. What would Devin body do if Regis gets in there and starts exposing the soft innards of Devin's body? We might see a different fight. All that movement that Devin does is going to slow down. See, we gotta realize that Regis and his team are going to have the best game plan for this fight right here, especially the way he's been disrespected. So Devin and Bill. First off, Bill and Devin needs another set of eyes like Derrick James does. Because I know Bill's your dad, and I know he's done sent you all around here, and he's your best trainer, but sometimes Bill needs the help because he's too busy trying to promote, be the best dad ever, and train you. Like, it's not going to work. That's too many jobs that need to be passed out. But,
I think that is I definitely agree with you're saying, Upper. Definitely. We spoke about that though. I think it was like back in August where we both had said, and you had started the point that, it's time for Bill to get in somebody else in there. I remember you saying that. And this is definitely true. I think he does have someone in there with him. But it'd be interesting. I would like to see, Regis take away the jab. I want to see how that's gonna go. Even with what makes Shakur and De Los Santos fight so interesting is that those are two southpaws. And man, that fight, I can't wait to see the creativity that's pulled from both of them because they are two southpaws and one got a little pop to him. But Shakur is on a little knockdown streak too, y'all. So don't be surprised if Shakur puts De Los Santos down. That's all I'm saying.
facts. Because I feel like Shakur's power has carried. And I feel like we're only seeing the best of Shakur right now. I feel like his power will carry one more time. Like, I feel like Shakur's like Navarrete. Navarrete did great against Lee in the first fight, but against Valdez, he came for war.
Amen. Yeah, that is true. That's going to be a good fight. All of these fights are good. And also, guys, when these fighters, whoever loses, y'all, please don't trash these fighters, man. Can't none of us that's tuned in today get in the ring and last 12 rounds with these people, okay? So do not trash these fighters, y'all. I get really tired of that. Shout out to all of them that's getting into this ring. I would like to end because I know we gotta wrap it up for Just Do coming on. First of all, Aunt McQueen, do you have anything to say, King?
No, it's just agreement with my guy down here in terms of the open stance matchup with Dev and Regis. I'm curious to see if he's tightened a couple of things up. I hope that he has. because as Nick J, I hope I'm not butchering your name, as she pointed out, he has fought a lot of lefties in the past few years. Jojo Diaz, Loma, now Regis. But even in that Loma fight, he was still showing some of the same tendencies, like slipping to his right into the southpaw fight, his red hand, keeping that right hand a little bit static as opposed to trying to catch shots with it. Uh, that probe thing is just I really wanted to see him minimize that as much as possible because he be setting his feet. And with De Los Santos and Shakur, I think that should be interesting. Or maybe it could be a replay of that fight that he had with Jamel Herring because Jamel Herring was a southpaw as well. So I think it's
Oh,
going to
that
be interesting to
the hell
see
out.
if and you know Jamel Herring had the longer reach, bigger guy, but I do think that De Los Santos definitely looks more athletic, a little bit more explosive than Jamel Herring. So we'll see how Shakur deals with that speed, but I guess it just remains to be seen.
Well, we're definitely going to see that. One thing, speaking of speed, I encourage everybody to please go check out that new Tank video of him hitting. I think it was like 40. He threw 40 punches in like what 5, 6 seconds. He's been getting better and better over the years. He is definitely getting back in the ring soon, whether it's Pitbull Cruz or whoever he get back in the ring with. Like I've been saying for the past few months, somebody is in some dang on trouble because people been running their mouths a little too much around here on one of the kings of boxing right now. So final thoughts. Aunt
Yeah.
McQueen, you got any final thoughts, King?
Boo boo for the win. Give me boo boo for the win.
Got you. Well, shout out to Coach Amber for coming up. Shout out to everybody that came in. Let me go ahead and do a few roll call. Shout out to Nick
Yep.
J, Brian King, Dank Luke Kane. It was so good to see you. You've been cracking me up. You've been cracking me up, Dank Luke Kane. Shout out to you, King. Shout out to Dante. Thank you for coming. Angel Diaz. Tank threw a bunch of punches in less than a minute. I'm talking about serious hand. Yeah, I saw it. Man, tell me about it. Like, man, just wait. That's why I just be letting y'all just talk. Whatever y'all want to say, a duck, whatever y'all want to call this man, believe you me, within 2024, like Leonard Ellerby have said, like the couple of coaches have said, all these fighters got to see each other. And I want everybody to keep that same energy. That's why I want y'all to support Devin Haney and Regis Prograis by that fight. Because I definitely want to see Tank get his just due with Devin first up. So shout out to Buckle Up Boxing Talk. Read 21 Philly. Shout out to you, King. How you doing? Rick Timms.
Thanks, Nick
I
J.
I know Tim. I know Rick. I know. No Pitbull. I know. But hey, it's a good tune-up fight in my eyes. He been out the ring for a few months. Shout out to, of course, Aunt McQueen. Thank you for coming on. Shout out to Rolo and the photo. I got my little issues with you, Rolo, but shout out to you. Shout out to Ping One. Thank you for coming through again. All things as always, baby. Shout out to you. Of course, to my honey bunny, D1, one of the goats of the channel. Thank you, D1. Shout out to John Kramer. Who am I missing, y'all? Um,
We appreciate you today too, Nick J. Thank you so much. Thank you for Coach Angel Diaz who came through today as well.
oh, Zena, the goat. Shout out to Zena. Hey, Zena.
Oh yeah, Zena always. And Philly salute.
Hey, Nick J, we not gonna do that. We not gonna do that, Queen. If you're worried about Boo Boo being laid off for a year without no tune-up and rust, we could say the same thing about Tank Man. We gotta keep this even playing field. Just because he's a star, don't mean that he don't need to get in and get busy. Not everybody is like EJ, except for this last bout with Bud Crawford.
Well,
Oh,
really,
Omega. Shout out to you, Omega, the light skinned king. What's up, Upper?
you be Omega.
Oh, yes, Omega. I mean Omega. Sorry, Omega. I called
Oh
you
yeah,
Omega.
and if Pitbull need to fight anybody, he need to fight Frank Martin. And salute to Nick J on the way out the door with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Nick J. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Maybe
Terry Dixon.
Maybe tomorrow, if you come through tomorrow, Nick J, you know, you get up here with the queens and you can cook with the queens as well. Cause you know, it used to be 2 Cent and Key and Coach Amber. You can have up there, you know. I usually let the queens speak their things around here, you know.
Shout out. Sorry, go ahead.
But peace and blessings to everybody. I'm gonna let her. I'm gonna let Keith finish it out. Then y'all know how we do. We're gonna go get our Just Do a Boxing.
Yes. Shout out to Zenith again. Shout out to J.A. Dixon. Whoever I missed, I apologize. But shout out to you guys for coming through. God bless you all. Upper, as always, thank you for having this platform for us to come in and talk. Shout out to Just Do and Mrs. Just Do. Y'all definitely tune into them, and we will catch y'all tomorrow. And don't forget about the Upper Echelon Man Talk tonight that's going on, where we are talking about, should people be dating that have children? How would you go about that? And I got a whole lot to say. I don't have any children. So I got a whole lot to say. So y'all definitely tune into that. Shout out to Upper, man, and we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get to squeeze and leave a nigga. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get to squeeze and leave a nigga bleeding. Raw Molly got me all up in demon mode. Mouth moving like I done put clean in my nose. Trying to catch me up, I can leave with some hoes. He standing straight up, watch I make him lean with this pole. Would've thought he was closed, how that heat made him fold. Thought it was a game, he won't think no more. His brain's gone, nigga. It be exciting when I get to striking. Guns sound like thunder, hit you like lightning. Fight for your life, we don't do no fighting. We really hit it, nigga. We worse than savage, they calling us Vikings. Police be riding, we still be sliding. Told you we hit us, remember the time. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get to squeeze and leave a nigga bleeding. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I get to squeeze and leave a nigga bleeding. How about I leave them holding like the Bible? AR-15, that's a high-power rifle. A in the army and assassinate rivals. Break that shit down, nigga. AK or anybody kill. Hop out, get the drilling and spilling. 7.62 gon' split 'em. FN, that's for any fuck nigga. You a plug, then I'm pulling up, nigga. You my lunch, eat these bullets for dinner. 5.0, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. SK, smoke killer for show. Drum rounds and cripple ops Draco. I got them all, you don't want no. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding. I can leave a nigga bleeding. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, bitch, I got it for 'em. They want that smoke, you know I blow it. They call me Sunny Monster for a reason. I'm really dripping, leave a nigga bleeding.